Tiaan, hi. Just an interesting shot on one of your first shots of the session today. This is why sometimes your driving can be erratic. It's just can all be sometimes a bit confusing going just on the ball flight of what's actually happening. So let's look at this first shot you hit where we've got the face coming into the ball very open, but it was a heel strike, and interestingly enough the ball started a fraction left of target. So if you look at the figures at the bottom, you can see the azimuth, the ball started just a fraction left. The club face was very open, and the ball, obviously because the face is so open, spun way off to the right and finished 50 yards to the right. But why on earth did the ball start slightly left if the face was that open and it's still sliced? What on earth is going on, and how can we explain that ball starting a tiny bit left of the target? Surely the ball should start right of the target if the face is that open. So let's have a quick look at the visual videos and to try and sort of figure out what's going on here. So Tiaan, if we look at the down the line camera, we've got the camera exactly on the target line. We've got our strings down on the ground, which is in line with the target line. And we've also got that blue alignment stick that you can see just with that white kind of reflective tape. You can just see the sort of the white reflective tape on the stick there, and then at the top we've got our final target destination, which is that net post right at the end. So we've got the camera lined up really good here. So I'm just going to put a line through all of these 3 points, so we've got an exact target line. So we've got a really good visual of what's going on here. So, and we'll look at the bird's eye view in a second. So as the club comes in, we can see how open the club face is there. It's very open to the right, and we know that it's a slight heel contact from the data, 16 millimeters towards the heel, so we can see that there. Now this is an interesting thing here. We expect the ball to start to the right because the face is so open, but we see the ball takes off just a fraction, just a shade to the left there, just a shade to the left. And another thing that catches my eye here is a phenomenon called path shift, where the path can shift quite violently and dramatic during the impact collision. And we know our horizontal path was a tiny bit to the left, I think 1.3 degrees to the left. Let's just put a little line in here, and let's just see as the ball is struck, the face, the club head goes violently to the left as it comes through. So we've shifted from maybe 1 degree as the ball is struck to as the ball is compressed. I would say that is, and that green line's probably not doing it justice because these things have to be looked at really high speed. But if we just look at the bit of grey tape on the floor, we can really see a lot of it emerge there just by the toe of the club. So I would say the sweet spot is now probably a centimetre closer to the red line than it was at impact. So we're seeing a lot of violent sort of path shift to the left there, which could certainly drag the ball left as the path shifts a bit to the left. Plus we got a fast closing of the face. But even though the face is closing, the fact that the path is shifting so quickly to the left creates that side spin. It kind of grabs the ball, drags the ball left, creates friction, and starts the ball a fraction left of the target, but with a lot of slice spin. So it's not quite all as simple as sometimes people make out in terms of what's happening through impact. So I know this is all a bit distorted because this was done at a different aspect ratio on the 1200 frames a second. Still nowhere near enough frames to really see what's going on, but until we get the better cameras, which will come, we won't really know what's happening. So if we take our target line, our string, we can just see the edge of the string there. So we'll drag a line across right to the other side there. So there's our target line. Now as the club head comes into the ball, we'll see the good thing is we've got that white line on the top of the club face. So even just before impact, if we just look at just how open that club face is here, let's just put a sort of a line through it, and this is not doing any accurate measurements, but just excuse me a second, that's the wrong line. So if we just look at this line here, we can see that club face is a good sort of 20-25 degrees open just prior to impact, so it's closing at an incredibly fast rate here as we come into the ball. So it's closing, still very open at impact, but then as the ball is struck off the heel, although we won't really see the path shift from this angle very well, the face closes very rapidly, but still creating a lot of slice spin, probably because not only is the path shifting to the left, but also you've got the fact that the heel side of the hollow club is we've got an inconsistent, we've got a non-uniform density club face. We've got the heel perimeter being much thicker, much denser, much tougher and harder than the middle of the ball, than the middle of the club face. We've got the outside of the ball maybe being compressed a bit harder, creating some fade spin. So we've got a lot of interesting things going on here. The bottom line is if you want to be a good golfer who hits the ball very long and very straight, we need a low closure rate through impact, and we need a more centered, preferably slightly toe contact on the club face, as in the PDF which I sent you. So some interesting shots you're hitting, but I know if we can work on those impact conditions and work on the things we looked at in the swing, I know that we can make some really good progress to your driving. Okay, best of luck, and I'll see you soon.